Hello, I'm John North. My wife Lois and I have been working with Ambassadors for Christ here in Australia, and I want to share with you a bit about how the coronavirus has affected our ministry. I head up our ministry team here in Australia. About 5 years ago, we recognized that one of the most significant things we could do to advance the gospel in Australia is to help Australian churches begin to activate the believers in the churches as witnesses for Jesus. That doesn't happen through a weekend seminar. You can't really change the culture of a church and turn it into a witnessing community with a seminar. And so we start a 2-year journey with church leadership teams to help them really change their church culture. We've seen some dramatic results in many churches. When we finish in one church, some leaders from that church come with us to go to 2 or 3 other churches and do the same thing with them. And then leaders from those churches help us go to others. And so we have this multiplying effect. Well, not only have we seen great fruit in churches here in Australia, but Evangelism Shift is rapidly spreading around the world. We launched in 2 U.S. churches in the Midwest this year, along with churches in the Philippines, Fiji, and a number of other nations that are growing with Evangelism Shift. My role on the team is international growth, so I'm constantly traveling internationally and working with our new national coordinators as they put teams together in different nations to grow Evangelism Shift in their nations. We really believe God's going to use it to change the culture of churches around the world. Well, our ministry has been growing so fast that it's all we've been able to do to keep up with the growth, with all of our international travel, mentoring of leaders. There's been very little time for anything but just what we need to do to keep up with what's going on. So a lot of our structures, our plans have been ad hoc, just put in place to help us make it through. Well, the coronavirus immediately put a halt to all of our international travel. And at first this was really frustrating as we were halted in our international growth. But we very quickly realized that along with the devastating impact in many people's lives, the actual pause in our ministry has been a great gift from God to our ministry. We've been able to take our time and form really beautiful strategies for our launch into more new nations around the world, a development pathway for our national coordinators in each nation. I personally have been able to record a number of really significant resources that are going to make the impact of what we do with churches far greater. So we are really praising the Lord for this opportunity to gather ourselves, form clear strategies. It's also forced us to really think through some creative uses of technology. And I believe that the solutions we've come to with that are going to enable us to actually have an even greater multiplication effect as we move into the future. I'm so excited to see God's hand at work. He knew what was coming. He allowed it to come. It fits into His plan. And even as you think of your relationships with people around you, remember, you've been sent into these days and those people's lives by Jesus Christ to represent Him. People are so aware of death in a way they never have been before, so open to spiritual conversations and discussions, and ready for you to share with them about what God means in your life. I encourage you also, as we have found here in Australia, to be bold, step out, assume people want to talk about God and what He can mean in their lives. Thanks a lot. John North from Australia.